Ahead, we go in depth on the spring concert from CAB.
And a historic artifact comes to USD. A look at one of Shakespeare's first works. Coyote News starts right now.
Live from the Al Newharth Media Center, this is Coyote News.
Good evening, I'm Nathan Finster.
And I'm Kathleen Surrey. We'll get to those top stories in just a moment, but first the headlines with Crystal Schoenbauer.
President Barack Obama is urging the Republican-led Senate not to let a fierce and partisan political climate crush the nomination of a serious man. The president sent Merrick Garland's Supreme Court nomination to the Senate this morning, calling him one of the nation's top legal minds and a consensus builder on the bench. Obama says allowing the Supreme Court confirmation process to become an extension of the presidential race would be wrong. Fox News has canceled Monday's Republican presidential debate following Donald Trump's decision not to attend. The cancellation comes after Trump told Fox News this morning that he would not attend the debate, leading John Kasich to pull out as well. Ted Cruz says he's willing to debate either Trump or Kasich or both. More on the White House race is ahead. But first, moving on to weather now. This nice spring-like weather is coming to an end. This is a live look at the new USD Arena. Right now it's 55 degrees, sunny and breezy, but a slight chance of snow is coming by Friday. Temperatures will dip down into the 40s and may get down to the low 20s over the next several days.
Thanks, Crystal. In 2 weeks, hundreds of students will fill Alf's Auditorium for the annual spring concert hosted by the Campus Activities Board. But this year's concert is different from past events. Coyote News' Malachi Peterson has the story.
Rap singers Sammy Adams and Jake Miller will be the artists headlining this year's CAB concert. Students were able to vote in an online poll for which artists they want to bring to campus this year. CAB officials were unable to get the #1 pick, G-Eazy, but were able to bring 2 artists to campus instead.
At that point in time, we sort of went back to the drawing board, and Jake Miller was the next highest voted person, and so we thought, let's make a concentrated effort to bring him. After looking at his price and the cost, we felt that it would be a good benefit to bring another concert in addition.
Both artists will play the same amount of time and both cost about $20,000 to bring to campus. The equipment to put on the show is about $14,000, making for a total sum of about $54,000.
This year's CAB concert is the first concert to feature 2 artists. CAB officials say they tried to get the Dakota Dome as a venue for their concert, but ran into scheduling conflicts with the basketball team and other sports teams. Now the concert will be held in Alf's Auditorium.
Officials, however, say they're okay with the concert being in the auditorium.
Yeah, well, with the Dakota Dome, we would obviously prefer that because it can hold more people, and the more people, the better. But for basketball and football, they obviously have kind of first dibs on the dome. And if there's even a chance that they can schedule their games in the dome, then, you know, they get the first pick.
So far, more than 260 tickets have been sold. Tickets are $10 for students and $20 for non-students. To buy tickets, concertgoers can go to usdticketsonline.com. For Coyote News, I'm Malachi Peterson.
Last year, CAB allotted more than 1,100 tickets for Hoodie Allen's performance. And just before spring break, USD elected a new SGA president. Coyote News' Heath Nimke is live in the muck with incoming president Nathaniel Steinlicht. Heath?
Thanks, Kathleen. I'm joined here today with SGA President and Vice President Nathaniel Steinlicht and Michelle Novak. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks.
Nathaniel, what's #1 agenda for you as being the new president?
The first thing we want to get done is the at-large process. We have 11 open seats on Senate, and we need to get them filled before we really do anything else.
Michelle, how did it feel when you won?
It was kind of surreal because I didn't believe that we were going to be in charge of being the voice and face of all of the students of USD.
Nathaniel, how can students become on the Senate that aren't, say, in political science major?
It's really easy to get involved. The at-large process is really designed for any student who wants to be a good student advocate. Michelle's wants to be an audiologist. She's a speech sciences and communication disorders major. So she's not a political science major, but she's vice president of SGA, so it's open to everybody.
Michelle, because Cam and Ann didn't win the exec positions, how can they still become on Senate at the at-large bid?
They just have to go through the process like every other student. The applications just went up this afternoon. They should be coming out in an email to all students. And Cam and Anna, if they wanted to, they could go and fill out the 3-question application process, get 30 signatures, but we think we'll probably waive that for senators who went through the process and got signatures already, so they wouldn't have to go through that process. And then all they have to do is come in for the interview and mock session process that would happen if they were asked back.
Perfect, thank you. That was President and Vice President Nathaniel Steinlicht and Michelle Novak. You can still fill out your application to be on Senate. For Coyote News, live in the muck, I'm Heath Nimke.
Thanks, Heath. In national news, last night's primaries brought big wins for Hillary Clinton on the Democratic side of the presidential race. She has just over 1,500 additional delegates, placing her with a 761 delegate lead over Bernie Sanders. On the Republican side, Trump still leads the GOP race with just over 600 delegates. However, John Kasich upset Trump's streak by winning his home state of Ohio. Florida Senator Marco Rubio dropped out after losing his home state.
South Dakota Attorney General Marty Jackley says a couple who died in a murder-suicide last year stole hundreds of thousands of dollars that were partly intended to go toward improving Native Americans' college readiness. Jackley says that investigators believe the total amount of money that Scott and Nicole Westerhouse stole was more than $1 million. He says 3 other people associated with the Gear Up grant program are also facing felony charges. The investigation was launched after Scott Westerhouse fatally shot his wife and their 4 children before setting fire to their house near Platte, and then shooting himself. Scott Westerhouse was a business manager for Mid-Central Educational Cooperative, which managed the Gear Up grant program. Coming up after the break, USD hosts a piece of literary history. A look at Shakespeare's first folio. Next.
This is Coyote News.
USD's Media and Journalism Department offers a specialization in strategic communication. Stratcom students learn to conceive and develop campaigns. In the production phase, students transform their ideas into professional quality images and then construct a final presentation. Through this process, students learn the fundamentals of effective public relations and advertising strategies. Go to USD's website and apply today.
USD's Media and Journalism Department can be seen and heard all over campus. Faculty members know that hands-on experience now is the key to success after college. Get professional experience by participating in one of the many practicums offered. Have your voice heard on the radio. Edit a promo for a campus organization. Investigate breaking news stories for a weekly newspaper. Design advertisements for local businesses. Get involved with the Media and Journalism Department at USD and start your future now.
Clotique is proud to support programming on Coyote News. Located on Cottage Avenue, 1 block north of Cherry Street, Clotique offers women's apparel, footwear, and accessories.
This is Coyote News.
With the end of spring break, many USD seniors are beginning to experience a lack of motivation in class and campus life, otherwise known as senioritis. Senioritis occurs when a student is eager to graduate and begin a life outside of school. Students may begin to have a slump in grades, the way they dress, and overall mood. Tyler Freed, a USD senior, says the key to avoiding senioritis is to keep your eye on the prize and have fun.
Get that senior audit done, get everything ordered, get your gown ordered, just little stuff to help you keep pushing you along.
Freed says graduating students should also remember to stay motivated, focused, and well organized as commencement quickly approaches.
The month-long exhibition for a rare 1623 book of William Shakespeare plays is now open at the National Music Museum. The first folio is on display 9 to 5, Monday through Saturday until April 2nd, next to musical instruments from that era. USD is the only stop in the state for the presentation, marking the 400th anniversary of Shakespeare's death. Admission is free. The first folio is the first complete collected edition of Shakespeare's plays, published 7 years after the playwright's death. The book preserves 36 of Shakespeare's plays, and without it, we wouldn't have 18 of those plays, including Macbeth and The Tempest. It's one of the most valuable printed books in the world. A first folio sold for $6.2 million in 2001. There are just over 200 copies. The book's touring the country thanks to the National Endowment for the Humanities and Google.org.
A Renaissance man brings the era to life, playing instruments popular during the days of Shakespeare. 2016 marks Kenneth Bay's 42nd year playing the lute, a string instrument common in the court of Elizabeth I. Bay performed recently at the National Music Museum. Along with performing, Bay taught the audience how the instruments he plays had a lasting effect in Renaissance Europe. Bay says playing at the museum has always been a dream and that he can finally cross it off his bucket list.
And coming up after the break, we look into the space issue at the Wellness Center. Stay with us.
This is Coyote News.
USD's Media and Journalism Department can be seen and heard all over campus. Faculty members know that hands-on experience now is the key to success after college. Get professional experience by participating in one of the many practicums offered. Have your voice heard on the radio. Edit a promo for a campus organization. Investigate breaking news stories for a weekly newspaper. Design advertisements for local businesses. Get involved with the Media and Journalism Department at USD and start your future now.
Fostering is when you take in an animal into your home and you take care of them until we can find them a permanent forever home.
If you can find it in your heart to do it, it's rewarding.
We do all the vetting, the neutering, the spaying, the medications.
The Humane Society has lots and lots of great dogs and cats that can pull at your heartstrings and make you realize you got a little more to give.
This is Coyote News.
Intramural basketball, which is played at the USD Wellness Center, uses most of the court space in the evenings. This makes it hard for students not participating in intramurals to find court space to play. 5-on-5 basketball has come to an end. However, 3-on-3 basketball tips off next week. Games will be played until late in the evening, and students often have to wait long periods of time to get in pickup games. The only time that there's open court space is during the afternoons when most students have class. Wellness Center Director Stephen Mayer says adding on to the facility is something they hope for in the future.
The USD's 6th annual Native American visit is this weekend. It'll include several public events and the opportunities for American Indian high school students to experience the college setting. The annual Building Bridges Conference will be Friday in the Muck, and a banquet will feature Joseph Marshall III, a Brule Lakota historian. Then on Saturday and Sunday is the annual Wachipi in the Dakota Dome. And on this week's Coyote blog, Andy Hartman talks about why she doesn't like returning from spring break.
So we're back from spring break and everyone's getting back into the swing of things. Coming back from spring break is much worse than coming back from Christmas break though. Christmas break is long enough that by the end of it you're pretty bored and sick of your hometown, so you really don't mind coming back. Spring break ends right when you're really beginning to enjoy it and it stinks. Not to mention the first days after Christmas break are the start of a new term, so you get the pure gift that is syllabus days. Not spring break. You walk into class on Monday morning just to have your professor remind you that your next test is this Friday, or you have another paper due this week. Do they have to make us jump right back into classes? Can't we have a few moments of silence for the recently departed break? And by moments of silence, of course, I mean days of silence, because, come on, classes are hard, and also daylight savings time started the day before we got back, so now everyone's super cranky. Coming back from spring break is also hard because you get to hear about the crazy adventures everyone else seemed to be able to afford. As if seeing Facebook pictures of you on the beach weren't hard enough. Now I get to hear about the dolphin you swam with or the cool theme park you went to. The only thing I get to brag about is the fact that I managed to fall asleep in 5 different locations around my house within 48 hours of me getting home, which is actually a pretty cool thing now that I think about it. I pretty much spent my spring break embodying the stereotypical college student, so that's neat. I accomplished something by doing literally nothing except taking my nap to a different couch. So for me last week, laziness won, as it always does. For Coyote Blog, I'm Andy Hartman.
Thanks, Andy. Coming up after the break, find out how some students get involved with coaching intramural sports.
This is Coyote News.
The Coyote Twin Theaters in downtown Vermilion, providing entertainment Tuesdays through Sundays. A proud supporter of USD student media.
This is Coyote News.
And on Coyote Sports, the USD women's basketball team begins its postseason tonight. Plus, Brandon Noel speaks with a member of the track and field team as they prepare for their outdoor season. I'm Kayla Dorhout.
And I'm Levi Goots. The men's golf team competed this past weekend in Florida. And in Cassidy's Corner, she gives us her thoughts on the Coyote women's postseason chances. First, the headlines. Crystal?
USD senior pole vaulter Emily Grove earned her 4th All-American honor. She cleared 14 feet 1 1/4 inches at the NCAA Indoor Championships. Good enough for 7th place. The Coyotes begin their outdoor track and field season this weekend with a pair of meets in Tulsa, Oklahoma and Tempe, Arizona. For the first time, the National Football League has acknowledged a link between the football-related head trauma and CTE. NFL Senior Vice President Jeff Miller says there's certainly a link between football and the brain disease. The NFL says they're committed to finding an answer to the concussion crisis. And those are your headlines.
The track and field team completed its portion of the indoor season and now prepares to move outside. Coyote News' Brandon Noel is live with senior thrower Kayla Johnson to talk about the change for the athletes for both seasons. Brandon.
Thanks, Kayla. Do you guys remember that $66 million project I went through for the University of South Dakota? Well, half of that was for the track and field facility that's going to be brand new and going off the kick this spring. Thanks for joining today, Kayla.
No problem.
So for you guys, what is this transition going to be like for you going from the indoor now to the outdoor?
It's really exciting. The weather's getting so much better, and now we get to bring the whole crew. Indoor, we're a little limited. We can only throw 2 events, and so outdoor now we have the whole range of events, including javelin and discus. And we also have hammers, so we're going to bring a lot of kids, and we're going to be really excited this season.
Do you feel that the brand new outdoor facility has been able to increase for recruitment or motivate the team to practice harder, knowing that you guys have this great facility coming your way?
The place is beautiful. I mean, it's a masterpiece out there. And so we've been given this opportunity, and we're all going to take advantage of it. And the track's out there, and everything's getting improved and finalized, and so we'll be out there. We're actually hosting conference this year, Summit League, in the May 12th. So we'll be hosting outdoor season. And so we have a brand new coach on the thrower side, and we're just building a brand new team, and everything's going to go wonderful. So it's great.
That being said, Kayla, what are your guys' expectations going to be for this spring season?
First time coming out, we're traveling this weekend, and so first time coming out, it's like a stepping stone. So we're going to step on that block and work hard and keep going and go from there. So expectations are really high to get to nationals.
Thank you, Kayla. Now the Coyote women's and men's track and field team will be competing this Saturday in Tulsa, Oklahoma for the Tulsa Duels. Live from the Muck for Coyote Sports, I'm Brandon Noel.
The USD women's basketball team hosts Creighton tonight in the first game of the Women's National Invitational Tournament. This is a rematch of last year's first-round game won by the Coyotes. USD earned their automatic bid to the WNIT after winning the Summit League regular season title. The Coyotes' chances at playing in the NCAA tournament were ended after falling to SDSU last week in the conference championship game, and then not being selected as an at-large bid. The Coyotes and Blue Jays will meet for the 6th straight season. The winner will face either Minnesota or Milwaukee in the second round. The USD men's golf team competed in the George Mason Mission Inn Spring Invite this past weekend and placed 18th in the 3-round tournament. Sophomore Matt Swanson was a high finisher for the Coyotes with a score of 17 over par, good enough for 57th place. A total of 102 players competed in the 54-hole event. The University of South Florida ran away with the team title, shooting 15 strokes under the second-place Texas Tech. The Coyotes will be back in action next week at the Missouri State Twin Oaks Intercollegiate.
Students on campus are looking for new activities to help distract them from homework. One of these activities is intramural basketball. Many students may wish to enjoy a competitive environment on campus. USD students can participate in intramural basketball without being part of USD athletics.
It gives the guys a chance to compete, and because they haven't, they don't play athletically here at USD, so it gives them something to look forward to during the week.
Not only do the players enjoy the games, but the student coaches gain valuable leading experience as well.
I like to coach to help out the guys. They need a positive role model in their lives, and practices are tough, but I really ride them hard, and overall it's just a good season.
Students interested in joining an intramural team can visit imleagues.com to sign up. 3-on-3 basketball games are currently open for registration. In Cassidy's Corner this week, she gives us her thoughts on the Coyote women's basketball team's postseason. Cassidy.
The conference tournaments are done, the brackets are set, and now it's time for the madness to begin. I got to attend the Women's Summit League Championship game last week, and it was an experience I'll never forget. A sea of red and blue flooded the Denny Sanford Premier Center. South Dakota's student section was 10 times that of our rivals to the north. The Coyotes didn't get the outcome they were hoping for. It was a very back and forth game, but the women fell short to the Jacks. Fans can contribute the loss to some very controversial calls made by the refs. But at the end of the day, the women just lost at the wrong time. After being named regular season champions, the women were guaranteed a spot in the National Invitation Tournament. The first round of the WNIT is tonight in the Dakota Dome as the women take on Creighton. Tonight's game will be a rematch of last season's first round game where the Coyotes won 68-58. Anything can happen in this year's tournament as the committee selected a very competitive field, including 36 teams with 20 or more wins. I'm excited to see what the women have in store for us. They'll be able to take their loss to SDSU and use it as motivation for the tournament. And that's Cassidy's Corner.
Thanks, Cassidy. Coming up next, March Madness is here. Have you started your brackets? We check in with your fellow Coyotes to see who they're picking.
This is Coyote News.
Fast Auto Glass is proud to support programming on Coyote News. Located at 222 West Main Street, Fast Auto Glass services windshield replacements and repairs for commercial and residential vehicles.
This is Coyote News.
March Madness is here.
On this week's Out and About, we check in with the brackets of your fellow Yotes.
Ooh, that's really hard to answer because I'm not really interested in college basketball, so.
Could you tell me one of the postulates of quantum mechanics? Stephen Curry's team? Maybe? Stephen Curry? Is that his name? Steph Curry? Whatever his name is? The Curry guy.
Traditionally, I like Maryland. I don't even know if they're in the Final Four. If they are, that's my team.
I guess I usually always do women's. I don't usually do the men's bracket, but then I'm Tennessee. I always love Tennessee, so I guess I'll go for them today. So.
I don't really know what a Final Four bracket is.
I probably have to go Kansas, Iowa State.
I'm gonna have to pick USD, SDSU, NDSU, and probably a powerhouse. Let's go with BHSU.
I'm not a fan of March Madness, but go Yotes.
23 years ago, Michael Jordan and Larry Bird made their famous McDonald's commercial playing a game of horse.
On this week's Coyote Shorts, 2 USD students tried their best to imitate the commercial while using regular household items.
Hey, what you eating? Green beans. I'll play it for him. For my green beans? Yeah, first one to miss has to watch the winner eat. Game on. Left-handed. 1D. Off the wall.
Under the table, hook shot.
Hook shot.
Off the wall, off the chair, 2 bounces, in.
Off the microwave, off the toilet, over the TV, in.
Football height, spiral, off the time clock, nothing but water.
Down the hallway, down the stairs, through the living room, nothing but air.
That's all for Coyote News. Don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Also, be sure to watch our Coyote News daily updates.
It's your day's headlines and the news you need to know in 90 seconds or less. Every day before noon on our Facebook page. Have a great night. We'll see you next week.